Hello friends, welcome to Perfection IAS Editorial Analysis. In today's editorial analysis, we are going to discuss the topic MNREGA reform. So this topic is very important for UPSC mains. It will come under GS 2 as well as GS 3. So in this video, we are going to discuss some of the important challenges in the topic and way forward also. So why this topic was in news? Recently, government had formed a committee to reform Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. So first we will see some of the basic about this act. So this act was passed in 2005, okay, to provide 100 days guaranteed employment to rural people, okay, rural people in semi-skilled, rural unskilled and semi-skilled people, okay. So one of the important feature of this project is it had reservation, 33% reservation for women, SC and ST. So this is the one of the important program, but there were certain challenges in this program. So to alleviate all the challenges, government had formed committee to suggest some of the reforms. So first we will discuss the major issue and the area of reforms. So first is delayed in wages. So delayed wages is one of the important issue in Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. In 2016, there was a case in Supreme Court regarding the wage delay in MNREGA. In that, Supreme Court said delaying payment as a forced labor. Okay, so now government is delaying payment for the MNREGA worker. Supreme Court said it is equal to forced labor, and it also given some guidelines regarding payment, but Ministry of Rural Development, which is the nodal agency for implementation of the scheme, has not taken any decisive steps, okay, to implement the code guidelines, and the payment process has become more complicated, okay. So because of that, people who are working in MNREGA are not getting payment on proper time. And one more thing is red tapeism and delay. So the current wage payment cycles require approval of at least 7 or more official. So because of this much lengthy process, people who are working under this scheme are getting delayed payment. So this process is very long when compared to a private bank loan process, okay. In private bank, if you want to get loan, means in 3 to 4 only 2 to 3 steps will be there. After that you will get loan, but to get payment from MNREGA, it need approval of at least 7 officers. So these are the major challenges in MNREGA regarding payment. So to alleviate this, Ministry of Rural Development need to frame some simple payment process. You should be transparent, and also it should be very fast. So these are the main issue and suggestion regarding delayed payment. So next thing is implementation issue. So many states and rural area are not implementing MNREGA because of the huge expenditure cost, okay. So what it should do is, instead of focusing on, it should focus on improving the implementation capacity in area with low expenditure, okay. It should focus on the project which require very low expenditure. So instead of reducing the expenditure in the scheme, government should focus on the area which require very less expenditure, and the area which produce high employment, okay. So this should be the thing in implementation. And MNREGA as a universal and a demand based social security program, and it should focus on exclusion. So there will be lot of inclusion and exclusion error in this implementing MNREGA. So what is inclusion and exclusion measure? So inclusion error means, So inclusion error means people who are not eligible for the project will be included in the scheme, and exclusion error means people who are eligible for the program were not be included. So this is known as inclusion and exclusion error. So what this author is suggesting is, so instead of focusing on inclusion error, the government should focus more on exclusion error. Okay, and it should made it as a universal. So it's a universal scheme, but in some state many people who are eligible under this eligible for this program are excluded. So while implementing, government need to consider the exclusion error. And other thing, next suggestion is the pocket where the most marginalized means SC, ST and other communities, other marginalized community are living, are being excluded from the program must be identified. Okay, so any marginalized people should not be excluded from the MNREGA program. And another thing is the online management information system of MNREGA can be used to flag area with violated entitlement instead of centralizing control. So this is an online management system. So through this online management system, government had to identify these areas. So this is the implementation, issues in implementation, and government need to do these things. Okay, so next is public participation. One of the important feature of MNREGA is public participation. Okay, so public participation is very essential for MNREGA. While allocating the work and while allocating the fund, Gram Sabha has important role. Gram Sabha contain all the voters, so 18 plus people who are 18 plus and registering voter were in Gram Sabha. So Gram Sabha play an important role in determining the types of project and allocation of fund and identification of beneficiary. So in every aspect, Gram Sabha had given immense power in while implementing MNREGA. Okay, but nowadays the government are not consulting people. So because of domination of bureaucracy, now people participation is very less in MNREGA. Okay, so the reform to MNREGA must be participatory, leveraging consultative process and forums such as state and central employment guarantee council. So before implementing any schemes or anything, government have to consult these things. The next thing is involvement of a state government. So MNREGA is a central government act, but while implementing any new reform, government have to consult state government, civil society organizations, NGOs and worker unions and self-help group. Okay, and also if while making any amendment in MNREGA, it should be also placed in state assembly. Okay, so if it placed in state assembly means it will get some wider recommendations. So wider recommendation. So government should consider public participation while implementing the reform. The next thing is top-down reform as a problem. So all the reform which government had done are top-down. So what is top-down? Top-down is implementing something from upper layer to lower layer. So instead of top-down approach, government should follow bottom-up. So top-down approach means only consulting with some bureaucrats and some officers. So instead of that, government have to consultate everything in grassroots level. So this is the important objective. So the reform which government had already did are based on top down approach. Okay, so now government have to focus on bottom up approach. Okay, so the Indian government needs to access the impact of its reform on MNREGA's assets and expenditure in poor state. Already government had made many reforms. Now it's time for government to assess the impact of those reforms. The next reform focusing on centralization. So most of the reform which government introduced, like electronic fund management, national mobile monitoring system, all these are based on centralization. So instead of decentralized approach, government followed centralized reform approach in all the aspects. So now what government should do is it should decentralize everything. Okay, then the government must be held accountable for denial of entitlement to MNREGA worker due to top-down reform without worker input. So I had already told. Now, what government should do? It should take input. Take input means it should take suggestion from workers and the people who are participating in MNREGA. So these are the main issue and area of reform. So that's all for today. If you had any doubt, kindly ask your doubts in comment section. Thanks for watching Perfection IAS.